So you all know we have a series of Guftagu sessions happening across the country, right? And that Guftagu is our property. You know, so we do interactions from leaders across different domains, whether it's corporate, whether it's academics, whether it's sports personality, or whether it's a film personality or somebody else. I don't know, you know. Think of somebody, you know. So we have a Guftagu session today, which we've organized for you. Rather than doing it in a hybrid way, you know, few of us from Gurgaon office and many of you joining in from your homes, we thought this is one platform and opportunity for us to do a session right in front of you to make this happen. Who we have today here is the real hero with us. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a great party yesterday night. And it's such a warm welcome and such a warm appreciation. And I'm very grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Srikanth, for accepting our offer of coming here and being part of this gang. Guys, the picture that you saw just now as a backdrop, I happened to be in Hyderabad very recently, about a month and a half back, to attend a conference. And in that conference, there was a leadership session for which I was lucky enough to be part of that. And I attended the session in the same way, as part of the audience at that time, for about 45 minutes to 60 minutes of session there. And those 60 minutes of interaction, which I observed, gave me hair-raising moments. You know, and believe you me, this is a fact. After that 60-minute of session, I stepped out and I called up my friend Abhishek here. At Abhishek, in our conference, we need Srikanth. Whatever happens, we have to have him here. You know, so thank you so much, Srikanth, for accepting that offer.
I think pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
And I wanted to give the same experience to each of you, which you're going to observe it today for sure. Believe you me, you will remember this experience. I mean, I don't think you will forget this experience in your life. So Srikanth, the first question to you is, you know about the theme, the conferences that we are having. The theme is Aagaaz, which is be a change maker, be a champion. You've been a champion in your life through and through. So tell us more about your change maker story.
Oh, I think being a champion, I don't call myself a champion, but I do accept that I'm a change maker. And I want to make change because from a young age, I perceive the world in a different way. Wherever I see a problem, I jump on it and lap it and say, this cannot happen. And even today, if you go and ask my father, what do you want Srikanth to do? He would happily smile and say, I want him to get a government job and get married to a pretty girl. I know getting married to a pretty girl may not be a big challenge because I am blessed with a pretty wife who's a doctor by profession and a 3-month-old pretty angel of my life, daughter. But working for someone else, let alone for Burlington or government, fills me with total dread. And that is why I became an entrepreneur. I think, see, people like me who looks at the world in a different way is always ready to take risks and be the change that they want to see. Just now you have seen a trailer. When I studied in a special school and got first rank always from LKG to 10th grade, played chess for India, cricket for India, participated in various inter-school competitions and whatnot. Any student cannot do this much. But I was fortunately able to do with the help of my mentors, well-wishers, and teachers. And when it comes to my career decision of studying my own passion of becoming an engineer and take up sciences in the intermediate level, so this was not happening. Just as you have seen in the trailer, it says I cannot do it because I'm blind. So I said, just because I'm blind, you cannot tell me that I cannot perceive my choices. So whatever happens, it has to happen. I want to make this change today. And that's why we ended up fighting with the High Court for 6 months and ultimately got the GO which says Srikanth Bolla can study sciences at his own risk. And that GO today is what is allowing thousands of students to pursue their dreams and aspirations. You see, if I would not have done that, who else could have done? Somebody should do it. किसी तो बकरा बनना चाहिए. That bakra is me. Because I want to go against the tide, because I have that vision and capacity and challenging nature. By the way, I'm not talking about the vision that you see through. I'm talking about the vision that is there in all of our mind. Because people often get it wrong. Why is this blind guy talking about vision? He don't see. How can he even say that he has a vision? I may be a sight impaired, but I am full of vision abled. So basically, without sight, you can do wonders, but without vision, you can do nothing. And that is why vision is for the mind and sight is for the eye, my dear friends. And be mindful. With all due respect, I say we are different. We are disabled in some way or the other. You are disabled and I am disabled. I am disabled because I don't see. You are disabled because you are fearful. And you don't realize what the spark that is there in all of you. And the capacity that is there in all of you. And be the change and ignite that power and arise awake, stop not till the goal is reached. And this is exactly what I believe in doing anything. When we started working in non-profit sector in India, when I was at MIT, getting some grants and setting up braille libraries, audio libraries, e-text materials, financial aid programs, and whatnot. We have done some 8 support services for people with different abilities. But we were not able to get employment, place them in corporates, and because these people were saying, oh, these guys doesn't speak good English. And these guys doesn't have good qualification. And these guys doesn't know how to walk, and we don't have ramps to give them. They may fall down on the stairs. So, but we did explain them everything, but ultimately they prevailed. And that was when I said, enough is enough. अगर सिस्टम उल्टा है, तो हम सीधा कर लेते हैं. सिस्टम को कभी भी उल्टा नहीं रहने देते ना. So that was the vision which led me to find Bollant Industries to empower and empathize marginalized communities, underprivileged people, and people with disabilities, while creating for environmental sustainability, making high-quality products that people should be proud of using from waste. And these are some of the changes that I can go on and on and on. But you see, ultimately for anything, powerful communication is quite important. And I'm one of the lucky ones. The setbacks I had in life enabled me to gain more exposure. Whenever someone said no to me, I climbed over their head to proceed to the next level. This is the secret in life. And I was so lucky enough to learn English by the way of speaking Butler English in school. And I used to shamelessly speak all wrong stuff. And believe me, I was the last student in the class who used to score low marks in English when I was in grade 5. But after that, my principal and my mentor came to me and said, look, your age is growing. We'll give you a double promotion, provided on the condition that you should improve your grammar in 7th grade. So I committed to them that I would do so. And today, here I am speaking flawless English, because it is the form of English that made me what I am today. And you are on the other side, are giving this form of powerful tool to youth and students like me. And back then, we didn't have luck to learn through apps and powerful tools from companies like Burlington. But today, the students are blessed. They have every technology in their mind, every powerful tool in their hands. They can do so. And I congratulate you for making more Srikanth Bollas by way of imparting powerful tool, powerful communication of language English. Thank you.
Wow. So Srikanth, the next question is.
I think आपका क्वेश्चन तो छोटा है, मेरा आंसर लंबा है.
वह बिल्कुल वैसे ही रहेगा. You know, in this audience, basis your life journey, what are the 3 lessons which you would want to give, you know, which can help learners to learn from each other?
Oh, okay. So I have to summarize my whole life to answer this question. So you have to be a bit patient. See, when I was born in 1990s, my birth was in question. People had a dilemma, and my parents also faced with this dilemma of whether to accept me and bring me up against all their odds and make me a vegetable, or just get rid of me and give it back to the God so that they can have the next kid. So this was a big challenge for every parent, right? When in general, a birth in any family, that to a male child, is the joyful occasion, because male children are considered to be breadwinners, lineage takers, and whatnot. But here is this baby who was born with both the eyes closed. So my parents, for them, now that I think the term apple in the eye must have meant not much for them, I guess, because in South India, neither they have seen an apple, nor seen a baby with both the eyes closed, born with both the eyes closed. So I didn't fit into their lean business model of farming. But here I am anyway, was born already, and everybody was telling them कि आप लोग उसको वापस दे दीजिए. कोई लोग आके बोलता भगवान जी को वापस दे दो, कोई लोग बोलता अरे यार इसको कचरा समझेंगे दुनिया, एंड कोई आके बोलता है ये तो अंधा है, गंदा है. See, I am an andha jarur, but not ganda, right? I mean, you have done the world a better place for all of us to live in. I think when you see the movie, you would also know this was one of the political campaign that the entire political system wants to take an advantage of it. So I was quick to realize that nobody can take an advantage of me because of my disability. By the way, I can generally, this is out of the answer, but whenever someone says scolds me or lat marega, तो ठीक है मैं ले लेता हूँ. लेकिन if somebody tries to say something negative on which kind of slightly dents self-esteem and self-respect, मेरे में जो devil वो है ना वो बाहर आ जाएगा. I think I am such an adamant guy in some value wherever the values are concerned. Anyway, so basically, but my parents, I was one of the lucky ones because my parents did prevail from the ignorant comments that persisted and told everyone, look, we will give him all that we could, bring him up against all odds, we will give that all we could, and then even if he is not helpful to the community or society, इनको तो बस घर में बैठ जाए ताकि जब डोर ओपन है तो स्ट्रीट डॉग्स अंदर ना आए. I think at least they derived a purpose to me, that any creature who's born has some purpose, whether it is protecting street dogs from entering the home or leading the world by giving light to the people. Of course, they thought मैं street dogs को रोकूंगा, but I am going to lead the country very, very soon by being the President of India. That is the whole journey. That is the whole journey that I am witnessing because of my parents. And this is where I have learned my first lesson in life, that compassion is actually what makes you rich, and not all the wealth in this world, my dear friends. In fact, all the Adanis and Ambanis or the biggest artists or celebrities or sports people, they are the vulnerable people. वो लोग समझेगा कि मेरा वेल्थ को क्या होगा, मेरा शेयर्स क्या होने वाला है, ईडी और सीबीआई कब रेड करने वाला है. And they can't have happy meal with their own families. But that is not the life you want to have. You want to have a compassionate family, life with full of family, friends, and community. This is where I tell you, compassion is what actually makes all of us happier. Just because of my parents' compassion, utmost compassion they showed on me, I am the richest man today on this earth at heart.
Fantastic.
And you think compassion is just giving 10 rupee note to a beggar on the street. No, that is just removing your guilt. Compassion is by showing meaningful opportunities and to live with dignity and purpose. Be it teaching them some skill so that they can thrive, or giving them meaningful employment. When I attended a school far away from my village, it was challenging to say the least. Because we as rural Indians do not have 1 rupee of discretionary income in our pockets. So I walked to school every day for 2 years without the privilege of eyesight, crossing all the muddy puddles and bad roads, bushes and forests and vehicles. Let me assure you, all my senses were keenly developed simply surviving walking on the village roads for 2 years. But what happened every day when I get to school really bothered me. Nobody would wanted to talk to me. Nobody would want to play with me. So I sat in the last bench, wallowing in my loneliness. Now that I think Lord Gautam Buddha must have had similar experience when he got in Lumbini before he got enlightened. But as a 6-year-old, why would I know about Gautam Buddha, right? I mean, I wanted to be like a regular kid and want to play with everybody. But that was not happening. This is where I realized that loneliness is actually the poverty. It is not due to not having lunch box to eat, but I was made poor by the loneliness that surrounded me. मैं तो बेचारा बन गया हूँ, as you have seen. See, and I sat in the last bench for 2 years without even anything of being acknowledged by anyone. Look at the plight of a small kid. यही तो होगा ना, कहीं terrorist बन जाता या नहीं तो radical बन जाता. But out of that darkness, out of that silence, or out of that loneliness, that I have decided to myself that in my life, I am going to ensure nobody feels lonely after me. This is the change, right? I mean, you face something and you say, you don't want the younger generation to go through the same plight and same loneliness. And I say, I'm going to remove this loneliness from poor people and make them all rich and happier. And of course, when I later on gave meaningful opportunities to many people, and I was the first beneficiary. And this is why I tell you, when you do something good for someone, you will be the first beneficiary to be benefited. So when you teach someone, you will become a better person. And I built my life on failures. Whenever there is a failure, I see a solution. Until I see a hardship, I will not become a better person. This is why I tell you, one cannot create by sitting in the lap of luxury. In fact, our brains are hardwired to produce our best efforts only when we face hardship. And I'm pretty sure you might be wondering, how do you face hardship? Can anyone tell me? You will get a photograph. Otherwise, no photo. By setting up a higher goal for each one of us. We need to push ourselves beyond the boundaries and say, this has to be done and this can be done. Even though it looks impossible, you have to have that higher goal so that you will be faced with hardship. And once you're faced with hardship, if your response to challenges is to say, bring it on, and I'm sure the whole world will conspire to help you succeed. And this is my response to challenges. Whenever when the world says, Srikanth, you cannot do this, and I question the world and say, why can't I do it? And for Srikanth, nothing is impossible, because Srikanth can do anything.
Srikanth, I've seen your movie, and I'm urging each of you to please go and see this movie as well.
But of course, now it's not in cinemas, so you have to wait till July 5th for Netflix.
Fantastic, wow.
Now Kalki is taken over all the screens.
Okay, so in the movie, and just tell us, enlighten us more of your entrepreneurial journey. You know, when, you know, I observed there was a computer training institute when you returned from US. You opened a computer training institute by the name of Sri Devi. You know, training visually impaired students on computer skills and then placing them in the corporates. Is that how it's all started?
Yes. So as I told you earlier, I think my entrepreneurial journey kind of began in school, but my first venture was an utter failure. So basically, we were studying in a special school in Hyderabad, where we were not allowed to go out and call our parents and so on and so forth. So we were put in the middle of four walls. So I saw this big problem of people feeling bad, not able to go out, not able to call their parents or loved ones. So back those days, we had telephone booths and coin boxes. That period, I said, why don't I put a coin box inside my wardrobe so that everybody can call? And that's my way of solving problem, right? Not to make money those days. What do you think? Young kids not thinking about making money. So then, of course, my management was very unhappy, and they said, don't think you become a big businessman, and threw away that coin box. And later, of course, they also threw me out because apan kukru ku bola tha. I think, see, again, there is a problem, right? I mean, when we were not given, so I was a head boy for 2 years in my school. So the responsibility of 150 kids on me. And I feel it's me because I'm a leader. I was a leader and I wanted to do something good for someone because as a leader, if you don't do it, who else will do it? So मैं तो बहुत लड़ता था स्कूल मैनेजमेंट के साथ कि भाई तुम लोग गुड फूड दे दो, हमको बैंगन और सांबार मत दिया करो. तो last 10 years we have been eating this only one thing which is बैंगन and सांबार. अभी कोई बैंगन लाता ना नज़दीक में, मैं दूर भागता हूँ. So, but you know, so one day we were having this conference and then they wanted me to thank the donors. And literally, I don't know what kind of happened in my brain. And I said, sir, I want to only half thank you because आधा पैसा हमारा ऊपर खर्च होता है और आधा पैसा उनका जेब में चला जाता है. And that actually made them very angry and threw me out of the school. But that's just, see, that's what happens to people who are rebels and people who are fighters for the younger generations or to make things better. But of course, मुझे बाहर निकलने के बाद थोड़ा चिकन बनना चालू हो गया स्कूल में. At least that was a change that I was able to see through. So having said that, it was later that we started a company. As I said, we skilled people with various disabilities and corporates were not hiring and we had a lot of issues. And that's how I started my company and said, I will give employment opportunities. And we started off in 2012. Entrepreneurship is like a spiritual journey. Ultimately, it is a very lonely path. It is so lonely because most people do not understand why do we want to work so hard, take huge risks, and put ourselves through a roller coaster. So, but you know, our personal experiences often shape our journey in life and in entrepreneurship. So the setbacks I had in life actually enabled me to build this company and grow this company to a multi-billion-dollar business conglomerate in the coming years. But the amount of the transformation that I had over last 8 to 10 years is remarkable. And I'll tell you a story. I was driving to my factory one day and I heard a loud scream. See, the thought of an entrepreneur like me who runs not a innovative IT company or a learning company like yours, but a very boring and traditional manufacturing company. You see, if you don't promote and transform manufacturing, we can't get anywhere in terms of job and wealth creation for our people. So I really love disrupting the manufacturing sector in India and hoping to create the rippling effect that would have impact on multiple sectors. And this was my vision back then. And I've consolidated more than 1,000 cottage factories in the country to make sure they're sustainable, they're in business. You see, when I saw a cottage industry in India, I saw a lot of problems. The concept of a cottage industry is nothing but substandard, subscalable, low productive enterprise. But if you can't grow and become efficient and innovate, you fall further behind. And this is the vision that I had for Indian cottage sector. And you see, small guys mortgage their wife's gold, pledge their full life of savings, and then start something. But the mafia tend to cheat them with exorbitant pricing and so on and so forth. So I not only provided employment opportunities to people with various disabilities, but also have brought more than 1,000 cottage factories under one umbrella and told them, look, when the price of an egg is published in paper, why can't the paper price be published in paper? That was the goal that I had, and I made it happen by creating our own portal and publishing mechanism and helping all these cottage factories to thrive and ensure that they are not knocked out of business. And as I was telling, the story about loud scream.
Yeah.
So I called up my manager and said, what happened? Did anyone got hurt? Then he coolly smiled and said, don't you know we have mentally challenged employees in our factory? And I said, oh, okay, I remember now, because once they are employed with us, we no more consider them disabled. They are in fact differently abled. So we also have a tagline which says we do employ able-bodied people. So then after a few weeks, I think, here is the same guy walking into my office. I was sitting on the chair and with a pretty girl with him. And he said, what's wrong with you? Why are you here? He extended his hand, and since I don't see it, he just extended his hand and say, take sweet, I'm getting married. Here is my wife. And till date, I have been taking whatever you are giving me because I don't know how to count money. But from tomorrow, my wife is going to ensure that I get right payment. I think that is the level of transformation that everybody goes through when they join Bollant. And of course, when they join Bollant, they thrive, and the company thrives too. So I've been having this remarkable journey of creating stories, creating impact, and creating sustainability.
So, Srikanth, when you talk about creating stories, I think, and please read about Srikanth, get to know about him. There is a Lead India Movement initiative of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and you happen to meet him. And he tell us, instead of me sharing the news, why don't you share? How was your vision of becoming the India's first visually impaired president occurred in your mind? And you told this vision of yours to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
So I think yes. So I think my role model and my beacon of hope, because is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and now actually I want to be that beacon of hope to millions of people who wants to be like me, because this is what the dream that Abdul Kalam had for me. So in 2006, a couple of students from Lead India training program were selected to meet him in person in Rashtrapati Bhavan, and I was luckily one of the students, and we went there and we sat there, and I myself, since I don't see around, I have less diversions, so I was just listening to the ambience there and sitting. And everybody was telling, we cannot meet President in person, but we have to see him from far. I said, okay, you guys can see it, but how will I see him? So I need to catch him. But they all said, no, you cannot shake hands. Protocol doesn't allow. So I told to myself, if the protocol doesn't allow, let that protocol take me and make me sit in that chair when I become the president. And that is how this seed was sowed in my brain, कि out of that frustration, कि मैं उससे मिल नहीं सकता हूँ. This is why I tell you, whenever I see a failure, I emerge victorious with different thought process and different person altogether. So while these thoughts were running in my mind, Abdul Kalam, here he comes and asks everybody, he says hi, and then he asks everybody, like every time, what all of you want to become. And I don't know what prompted me. I was able to say what was going on in my mind just now. I want to become the President of India very soon. And he got puzzled and he pushed me to the front. He came all the way to my chair and pushed me with his trembling hands, in front, and then he says, he told everybody that he appreciates my courage and he wished me all luck. And then that is when the whole chemistry began. कि वो प्यार चालू हो गया, relationship. Then we were together that evening for a long time, chatting around, and then he was intrigued, and we worked together for almost couple of years, and then we trained more than 800,000 students. We addressed, just like this, sitting from one stage, one platform, we addressed several times in Coimbatore and other areas. And how sir actually introduced me like a surprise, there in Coimbatore also, I was not on the guest list, but I was on their agenda, but not on the guest list. So everybody was called in, and the program is about to begin. And they wanted to give me a surprise to Dr. Kalamji and said, here is, we have a surprise for you. And then they calls me in, and then Dr. Kalam jumps with happiness, and he comes running and then takes me and makes me sit beside him. There is an IAS officer sitting. So he says, would you not mind, would you just get up and go and sit there somewhere else? And then he makes me sit there. And when it is a turn for him to speak, he goes to the podium and says, I have a surprise for you. Today, my hero is with me. He will speak to you instead of me. You follow him. And then I speak. Then I go and speak. Then he goes back to podium again. He says, my hero had told you everything that I want to tell today. So there's nothing for me to tell you. So just follow him. During his last days, he just called, we met once, and we said, how do we plan next things? So he surprisingly told me, now I am becoming tired. It is you who needs to take this charge and be that beacon of hope to everybody. Keep inspiring millions and ensure my values are left with you. So you ensure that you protect them as you go on in life and become the President of India. I think I truly honor, and I'm truly honored to have such blessing and mentoring and really a friendship from my own role model. And I truly realize this big responsibility of empowering and empathizing India. Because it's all empathy that people in vulnerability needs, not our sympathy. All that they need an opportunity for them to thrive and show their potential. And that is why I want to become the President of India soon. And I, of course, have a fantasy of going in a fighter jet and a submarine. So this can be only fulfilled by becoming the President. आपको तो कोई pretty girlfriend होना लगता है. मुझे तो all unique things I like. I don't know. I love machines. I love aircrafts. I love all these rockets and space and tools. So I'm I guess, little mad, unique guy there. And I also tell people, the minute I become the president, I want to alter the IPC and CRPC and say, people who does not dream big will get a 14-year life sentence. Because I really feel dream is not that you see in the sleep. It is something that doesn't let you sleep. And once you have that bigger dream and work hard, and the whole universe is yours.
Fantastic, fantastic. We also know there is the other side of yours. You know, believe you me, he's a big cricket lover himself. And also, there is a World Cup finals being played today between India and South Africa. You being, you know, you've played cricket in the Indian cricket blind team, and then becoming the first visually impaired student playing baseball in America. How does it feel like?
Oh yeah, I think even now if I see bat and ball, मैं court निकाल के जाता हूँ ground में, because I am so. I mean, it's part of our. I think it's part of my DNA. I think playing sports also makes you a different person to handle stress and nerve-wracking moments. Because you know, if you're not afraid of fear, I think there won't be any stress. And in fact, when we were sitting in a restaurant today morning, we were talking that I don't even know the word depression in my life. Because nowadays we see all these psychiatric drugs and antidepressants and mind control drugs and all. Who can control mind? That is all bullshit. No medicine control mind. It is your thoughts that should control our mind. And that is why I tell you, as a sportsman, I can handle these moments in a better way because I am not afraid of anything. मुझे नहीं लगता कि बॉल आके मेरा सर पे लग जाएगा. लगने दो. I think that is the level of intuition that you always have as a sportsman. So when I also played baseball and really enjoyed the moments. So I was also telling sir in the morning, मुझे तो workout करना नहीं आता, इसीलिए मैं तो home run ही मारता हूँ, भागता हूँ नहीं. क्योंकि अगर आपने, if you take a lower shot, then you need to run to the base. If you don't want to run, you better hit the ball in Boston and that should land in Hyderabad. I think that is the perception with which I play the sports. And those sports actually helped me so much in becoming a better person. And even during promotions, I actually played cricket with Zahir Khan in one of the turfs in Bombay. So मुझे लग रहा था आज मेरा इज्जत चला जाएगा. But luckily, Zahir Khan threw 4 balls and I was able to hit them 3 very hard. And आखिरी ball, I wanted to hit it out of the ground and taken a back step and took the bat so back, वो bat के नीचे से चला गया. But they all said the cricketer in me is still alive. So I'm happy. The cricket is always a passion and I would love to play whenever I have a chance. And nowadays watching cricket had become a what you say, legacy, I mean passion for everybody. But when I see cricket, if the real tournaments are being played, I do watch sometimes, but IPL and all have become so much commercialized, so I don't watch them much. And but India has to play the finals well, because that is where our bimari hai. So let us hope we win the game.
I have few more questions, but I think I'll let the audience ask if you have any questions for Srikanth.
आपने अच्छा किया मेरा डेट के बारे में पूछा नहीं.
अभी मैं पूछूंगा.
नहीं.
Nice. Any questions, Leena? Akshay, can you just pass the mic to her? Leena.
Hello, Mr. Bolla. I'm Leena, and it's a privilege meeting you here. Thank you, Amit, for this wonderful surprise. Sir, I have a question. That in your experience as an entrepreneur, what key factors do you believe are essential for creating an inclusive work environment? We want an inclusive work environment that also fosters innovation and growth. So what are the tips or what are the 3 lessons would you
I
like
think this is a very important question. DIY is diversion and inclusion is not a term on the paper. It should be in our mind and it should be part of our culture, our DNA and our business growth as well. See, if you take a person with visual challenges, and I assure you they perform better than any one of us. Because if you guys are working in a team surrounded by pretty women, you always tend to look at her than focusing on your job. But if a person like me who's sitting there, I'm focused on getting the work done and not looking at what's happening there. So I think this is as hilarious as serious, right? I think they are more loyal, and people with different disabilities do get opportunities very rare. So that is why empathy is something we all need to inculcate. And if you empathize them and create that opportunity, I am pretty sure there will not be any attrition for you, because nowadays we are seeing depleted values and depleted mindsets that from the employees. अगर कोई 200 रुपए ज़्यादा दे देगा तो भाग जा रहा है. I think in this world of fast moving with less values, I think attrition is a key factor. So if you look at diversity and inclusion as your culture, you will see much lower attrition. Plus, you will see better growth. And I see a lot of companies handling a lot of people with different disabilities. Of course, Bollant, it is my company, hires people with mental challenges. And let me tell you, people with mental challenges are better than the robots in the Apple factories. If you give them repetitive task, they do it flawlessly with perfection, with 200% perfection. And let me assure you, my floor had been accident-free since last 10 years. We, having all the sensory organs, bump into things and get messed up, but people with different challenges are more cautious and more careful. See, having said that, I wanted to tell you a small example. When I applied for LIC 5 years ago, LIC says, we can't give you 100% accident insurance because you are blind. मैं बोला अरे यार मैं तो डायबिटिक नहीं हूँ कि मेरे को बीमार आ जाएगा, मैं तो सिर्फ ब्लाइंड ही हूँ. They said, yeah, sir, because you may bump into things and get into an accident. Then I told him, boss, look, I lived with this blindness for almost 30 years now, 25 years back then. And then don't you think I will not live for next 25 years without your insurance policy or LIC policy? Then that actually prompted him to be a human being and not inhumane. I think that's what made a change in the system of LIC, that blind people do get 100% insurance in the country without extra premium. Without extra premium. That is what to be noted. I think this is what diversity and inclusion mean. So we as a company should think it as our prime responsibility rather than our CSR opportunity. That's when the whole change will happen. If you simply think it's like a CSR opportunity, then the change will never happen.
Any other question, guys?
ज़्यादा हो गया मेरा बात या क्वेश्चन नहीं है?
We're passing the mic.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
First of all, when I watched your movie, and I always wanted to meet you, that was my dream. And thanks to Amit sir and Burlington team that my dream came true today.
I think Amit is your dream fulfiller.
Yes.
So what you're going to do to people then to fulfill their dreams? मेरा क्वेश्चन पहले आंसर करिए, बाद में आपका करता हूँ.
Even I want to be an entrepreneur, and I started like a small startup I have. So yeah, it's just growing a bit. So I hope that I have answered your question.
Of course, but you'll also fulfill dreams by making 100 Srikanths by teaching them English.
Why not?
Okay, keep up the good work. चलो आपका सवाल पूछिए.
Okay, sir. So this thing, it's very easy when you have someone to motivate you, when you feel any negativity or any negative situation. But I've read about you, and I've also gone through your site. So how to deal with and how to motivate yourself when you have nobody and you're thrown all the negativity from every side.
I think मुझे तब यही हुआ था. See, there was no one to even motivate because there were a lot of challenges coming from all the sides when I was a kid. See, I have joined. My father got me to a special school in Hyderabad, and this was first time away from my parents, and everything looked very new to me because back then, right, I was shielded. So मुझे खाना मिलता था time पे. I think my parents were doing everything, and they were overcautious. पहली बार I think I was left alone without much support, and I told to myself, where did I land? Am I in a different world or what? I think the same thing happened when I landed in America, but with much lesser issues. But क्योंकि we were not taught to use Western commodes and use toilet paper, because toilet paper was a dream for any student in India. So I don't even know how to use an overhead shower and things like that. Fortunately, now I know everything, so I don't mess up the bathrooms. But when I landed in America, it was a mess. So I had to learn everything the hard way. And even same thing happened as an 8-year-old kid when I landed in Hyderabad. It was very new and there was no one to motivate me or teach me anything. So मैंने ये braille नया दिखती थी and the whole system was very new. So I tried to run away. And the warden there actually slapped me very hard and threw me in a room and locked from outside. I think I was left alone and that was the time I said, मुझे तो अभी कोई रास्ता नहीं है, अपना रास्ता हम ही बनाना है. And this is why I tell you, God can give you your starting circumstances, but we make our own destiny. Future is in our hands with just enough randomness to make things interesting and less predictable. There won't be anyone to motivate us. It is we who needs to think and self-motivate. And of course, once you are motivated on a pedestal little bit, then right mentors, right teachers, right well-wishers will come into your life and will support you. But the jump stone has to be there in all of us. And that will come from our own challenges and our own negativity. So if you look at negativity as a disgrace, then you won't come up in life. But if you look it from a blessings perspective, I think that's when we can become, we can emerge victorious, just like me. Because I look at every failure as my stepping stone to success. कोई ने आपने मूवी देखा बोला कोई महेश का कैरेक्टर था उसमें. He used to always bully me in school. He used to always throw pens and pencils and hit me with ball and all that stuff. And मुझे beggar बोलता था. अरे यार तू भीख मांग ले क्यों खेलना तुम हमारे साथ बोलता था. लेकिन then I had this thought that I will never become a beggar. See, when somebody says something negative, you know you will never want to become that. You want to become hero. And that is what made me a hero today. Because it's characters like these who insulted me day in and day out is actually what inspired me. So I convert insults into inspiration, the negativity into positivity, the failures into success, challenges into opportunities. This is what we all need to also think and self-motivate. And then once you are self-motivated, then everything will fall in place.
Thank you, sir.
Amazing. Yes, Divyansh. Yes. Can you pass on the mic to Divyansh?
Good morning, sir. I have got two questions, combined in one question. As you were the person for Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, so have you found the person who will be to you? And if not, then what qualities he or should possess? Because that's an indirect question, what qualities a human should possess.
So if I understand right, do you think have I found someone to succeed me?
Yes, sir, a successor of you.
अभी तो नहीं है, तो अभी तलाश में हूँ.
और उसकी qualities.
And it should be you, I guess, next.
That is the reason I've asked what qualities he or should possess. Because then I'll
See, the qualities is, you should have selfless goal to inspire and empathize people. And our personal benefits are last, but countrymen is first. And we should have that bigger urge and hunger and greed to achieve where you want to be, rather than getting satisfied with the byproducts or the small awards that you get. You see, whenever I get an award, it's just a moment. I enjoy it and let it go. And I think, when am I going to get better award than this? Even on the same stage, I think about it that way. If I was listed in Forbes, I told myself, मुझे Fortune 500 में कब list होगा? And that is what I work for. When I got listed in Economic Forum, World Leaders, मैंने सोचा कि मैं unicorn कब बनूंगा? The minute I become a unicorn, मुझे Nobel कब मिलेगा? I think that is what is your greed should guide you to your goal and destiny. The greed, I mean, not to get good girlfriends, by the way, just get good success. That is what is greed.
Got married, by the way.
Oh, अभी तो थाला लग गया. गोदरेज का ताला लग गया या नहीं तो शील्ड लॉक लगा दिया ताकि वो जल्दी ब्रोक हो जाए. Thank you. I think ethics and the values is what helps us to become a better person. Respect, love, and empathy for all the people around you. See, just to tell you a small story, right? मैं इतना funny होता हूँ अगर people around me should be very happy, and if they are not, and I don't mind doing something wrong to make them happy. When we were in school till 10th grade, we were writing exams in Braille. And one teacher used to read the question, write the properties of Newton's theory, whatever, A, B, C, D. She would read out the answers. We would have to tick the right answer. So मैंने पहले ही क्या करता था कि भाई तुम लोग जो पढ़ना है पढ़ लो. अगर if you cannot pass, what I'll do is I'll help you during the objective type exam portion. That 30 points के लिए objective type रहेगा ना, I'll help you. Then I used to give them codes. If I say, teacher, can I go to toilet? The answer is A. And if I bang the bench twice, the answer is B. If I threw my stylus pen or down, the answer is C. So like that, I used to give them random codes. And मैंने करता था. And sometimes teachers used to catch कि अरे तुम आप तो कुछ गलत कर रहे हो, हमको पता नहीं चल रहा कि क्या गलत कर रहे हो. मैं बोलता हूँ मैं गलत कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा हूँ. I am trying to make people happy. So of course it's cheating, but see, that is how I was, right? I don't want anybody to feel bad in front of me. I'm so emotional. So I want everybody to live with happiness and with sense of purpose. So I think for that, मैं तो बहुत कुछ किया हूँ कि आप लोग नहीं करना है. So I think that's how we should live with values, and I know we should be a part of this Vasudhaiva Kutumbam, the oneness and the one family and one country. That feeling will always take us to great heights.
Thank you, sir. And one line for you, sir. जो भरा नहीं है भावों से बहती जिसमें रसधार नहीं, जो भरा नहीं है भावों से बहती जिसमें रसधार नहीं, हृदय नहीं वो पत्थर है जिसमें स्वदेश का प्यार नहीं.
Are, you read a nice poem. Thank you.
Yes.
अभी मुझे तो स्टेज पे बुलाना जरूरत नहीं था, इनको बुलाना था, पूरा पोएम पढ़ते थे.
Yes, Charu.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's Charu. So, in your movies and right now also, you've spoken about the failures and how you've overcome the failures, and it is very inspiring. But you've gathered a lot of success also. So, how do you deal with the success?
I think this is an important question. So success is actually bad for young guys like me. See, who got biopic done at the age of 32? So what do you think? So what else? I mean, people expect so much out of you. If you would have done this much in 32, by the time I become 60, then I need to become the president, get Nobel Prize, get Bharat Ratna, what much more, right? I think that's a big pressure. But I don't see that pressure. All that I care is doing something meaningful, living my happy life the way that I want to. मुझे तो अगर पानी पूरी खाना लगता है ना, मैं चलता हूँ रोड पे पानी पूरी खा लेता हूँ. I am not worried about what people are going to say. If people say, "Are you Srikanth Bolla?" when I was eating ice cream, I happily smile and say, "Yes, of course," and then I do eat it. So I think we need to live our own life. Our success cannot be restricted to our feelings. And of course, success should be always on the ground. It cannot get to your head. Once it's at head, then it is the beginning of your crash. So I think for me, लोग हमेशा पूछता है, सर आपका मूवी के बाद लाइफ कुछ बदला है क्या? नहीं, मैं सोचता हूँ मेरा लाइफ में कोई बदलाव नहीं है जी. मैं तो पहले से ही हीरो हूँ. ये मूवी मुझे हीरो थोड़ी बनाया है.
Lovely. Thank you so much, sir.
We have a question at the back. Can somebody pass on the mic?
Hi Srikanth, I'm Shabir. I want to know what are some strategies or habits you develop to stay motivated and focused on your goal?
मैं तो हमेशा I think I always have big dreams in life. मुझे ये बनना है, वो बनना है. Every time, every minute my mind keeps thinking, अभी और कुछ और क्या करूं. I think that urge of doing things is always what makes me motivated. See, I have addressed many platforms and I have spoken in many places, but every time is a new experience for me. Every time I feel I have to do better. I think that preparation of that underestimation of yourself to do better is always helpful to become a better person. And I always remain humble and yet motivated because I keep doing research, I keep designing new things. Actually, when I met my wife for the first time, मैंने उसको बताया थी मेरा शादी already हो चुका है. Then she was surprised and said, she couldn't say anything actually. Nice, she didn't beat me. चोर आपने क्यों आके मेरे से मिला है? नहीं बोला है वैसा. लेकिन she kept quiet. And then I gave a pause and say, you see, I'm married to my work and my machines, not any other ladki. So, don't worry. Then she was so surprised and she got mad for a moment also. In the movie, if you would have seen, there is this hilarious scene that we keep it. So this is how I do things, right? I'm very witty and funny guy. मैं एक बार बोला उसको कि मुझे सब कुछ दिखाई दे रहा है and I see how pretty you are. And she was so confused and she started dancing. Then I tell her, I'm just joking. So I think these are the things I keep doing. Then of course I tell her, of course you're pretty and of course you're smart and all these things, and say, थोड़ा makeup कर लेता हूँ मस्ती को. I think we all have to live the life like the way we want to, and then that gives us that motivation. I am lucky to be blessed with right companion and right partner, because I feel marriages are made in heaven, and it is the women who allows us to be successful. अगर वो रस्सी लगा दिया ना, then you cannot do things that you like and the way you want to. So I think once you are happy at home, you can go out and conquer the world. So all the women out there must help your men to be successful. And all the men out here must respect our women to be independent and helps us so that we can be successful.
Fantastic.
It's all the love and emotion that plays in life, my dear friends. How far you go, how successful you become, family is family.
So since you talked about your wife, let me just come back to the same question which I was supposed to ask earlier. How did your love story started?
I think just like many of you, maybe some of you must have had love marriages and marriage bureaus. मेरा marriage bureau था Facebook. So I think my wife started randomly reaching out to me on Facebook, and like I thought it's AI or some robot, so I just ignored, and we kept on ignoring for almost 2 years, even though we knew that it's not a robot, it's someone trying to reach out. Then after that long time, she lost her patience reaching out on Facebook, so she started drawing my public domain images using pencil art instead of drawing anatomy diagrams in MBBS. So I keep telling her, अरे यार आपने मेरा ड्राइंग के वजह से आपने अगर बदले में anatomy में ड्राइंग करता था तुमको गोल्ड मेडल मिलता था. And she always smiles now. But so she started sending books in couriers with some dot code and random images and जो love proposals in the form of code, some kind of a Morse code. So हमको decode करने के लिए थोड़ा time लगा है वो क्या बोल रहा है, फिर भी किया ही नहीं है आज तक क्योंकि वो code कुछ समझ में नहीं आया. Then she says, I ask her, what did you send? She says, it's a song. मुझे बताया था कि कौन सा song है, वो dots है पूरा उसमें. But that was how, and everybody started teasing me after seeing those books. अरे सर कोई ने तो मर जा रहा आपके लिए. And I don't know, जैसे weak spots होता है ना हमेशा हमारे में, कोई एक weak moment आया होगा कि क्या हुआ, क्या dopamine release हुआ होगा शायद. तो I told my secretary because of that dopamine and say, ठीक है उसका नाम और father का नाम पता कर लो. And that is the beginning, and once I got the name and the father's name, I did a background with the help of my friend who lives fortunately in the same village. And that guy says it's a very good girl, looks pretty and good family. She's really doctor and all that. Then we called her to Hyderabad. Then मेरा dopamine इतना release हुआ कि मैं propose ही कर लिया हूँ. I think, you see, men can only hold on so long, but until they see a right woman. So once you see a right woman, I think if the maker of the match is right there, I think you won't take much time. So मैं brag करता हूँ कि मैं पहले propose किया हूँ. So I am the winner there. She tried, but I proposed. So I think I am very, very lucky. I found a lucky partner. God has been very, very kind, and she handles certain part of our business. Very lucky. इसीलिए मैं सब कुछ कर पा रहा हूँ. इतना week I am traveling and then not getting angry calls from my wife. So I am very lucky. इसीलिए बोल रहा हूँ आप अपना men को और अपना woman को support दे दीजिए. आप भी मेरे जैसा बेहतर बन जाएगा, मेरे से बेहतर बन जाएगा.
You know, I've seen your movie, and academics has always been a priority for you in your career progression.
Oh yeah.
You know, so what do you think in academics while you were growing up? There was a very important role which your teacher Devika had played. What do you think is the role of a teacher in terms of transforming your life, both personal and academically, to support you where you are today?
I think I am what I am today solely because of their efforts. My teachers, my school, my management, and the well-wishers in life. You see, if you have that bigger dream, it's like a car, right? You keep rolling, and at different stages or at different times, different people sit with you and ride with you and go back and then give room to next people to come in. I was like that. मुझे मेरा parents ने मुझे जन्म दिया, and they have given what they could in spite of all their art. So I'm very grateful to them for it, in spite of their financial difficulties. It was later my teachers and my mentors, so as Devika, who had been instrumental in teaching me how to live this life. And you see in the movie, if you would have seen, teacher wantedly throws an obstacle on my way, and मैं तो गिर जाता हूँ and कि पूछता हूँ कि ये कौन लगाया इधर. I think it is a real, I mean, the movie's instances, the anecdotes are very, very, very real, because see, life is not then she teaches me that life is not going to be the way you expect, and you need to live this life the way it comes. Because nothing is going to be on your way, my dear friends. Everything will be against you. When you become an entrepreneur, no banker would fund you, no investor would fund you. They all tell you, ये idea में दम नहीं है, वो नहीं है, ये नहीं है. But ultimately, you have to stick to your spark that you always believed in and work hard for it. See, even companies like Google had to try for a couple of years to even get them funded in the beginning. And now everybody wants Google. Everywhere it's Google. I think, why don't we become that Google in future? I think that is the dream we all should have. So education is the best and starting way for any student to become what you call inspirational, motivated. Education is not about learning A plus B is equal to C square. It's about learning the life, getting right exposure. See, I tell you, a person working in a quarry, breaking stones by hand all day, works much harder than any of us in this room. But her productivity is not enough to feed 3 meals or let alone build something meaningful. This is why I tell you exposure at the right age to right things is most important. But what do you do with that exposure purely depends on your hard work and talent. But all your talent and hard work won't take you beyond baking stones without right exposure, right mentorship, right ecosystem, and right language and right communication. Because it is this education that teaches you and preps you to face the world. 25% of your exposure comes from family, friends, and surroundings you live in, and the remaining 50% comes from the education, and the remaining 25% comes from who you are with. I think this is all about education, and mainly the language. See, no matter how talented you are, if you cannot express yourself, if you cannot advocate for yourself, all your education will not be useful other than breaking stones, right? That is why learning good communication is the key factor for every student. Even for me, I tell you, just because I was able to learn English, I was able to communicate myself, express my thoughts, and put in front of people. And मैंने एक conference में गया था, I was speaking in that conference at ISB, and मैं कोई guest को बता रहा था कि मुझे US जाके MIT में पढ़ना चाहता हूँ. I think that guy then took charge to help you. Like that, I mean, if you are shy and don't come out into public and say this is what you want to do, then no one is there to help you. Instead, if you say, teacher, मुझे sportsman बनना चाहता हूँ, then teachers will definitely support you. And it is my teachers who identified that I had this, what you call that guts in me, that if properly polished, can become a better individual. And it was later when I met my first investor and my co-partner, Ravi Manta, he told me, I will meet you for 10 minutes. But once I met him in a hotel in Hyderabad, that meeting lasted for like 3 hours, and he told me only one thing: you have a gemstone in you, and let me polish it and give it to people who needs it. I think that is how well-wishers keeps coming, if you have that guts and if you have right education in place in the beginning. And especially powerful thought. Purity of thought, purity of mind and clarity of thought is what allows you to be successful in life. That is only by language learning. And just because I'm talking at a learning company, I'm not talking about language, but I didn't get chance to appreciate my medium of language so far. So this is the platform to publicly tell you, I am today what I am because of my language.
Wow. Guys, if you have any last question, otherwise,
मैं तो
I have one last.
दिन भर present कर सकता हूँ without even fumbling into things, because I know what to communicate.
Yeah. So I can see one hand right at the back. Is it Nishikant? Yeah. So can you pass on the mic there?
Hi.
This is Nishikant, and I can really connect with your story. I am also blessed with a differently abled kid, and I can know that what are the challenges the parents has to face.
अरे इसको तो तालियां बजाओ यार. He is blessed with different. He is proudly accepting it, which is what is called empathy. I think we as parents, we as people should accept our limitations with true pride. Thank you so much.
So I have heard a lot about you. I have seen the movie on first go, and I try to see all these things where I can make change in my kid's life, where I can be an influencer, a stimulator in his life to understand this world, how it comes to him. But sir, I just want to see if you wish that one thing your parents should have different, what would be that thing, so that I should not owe that thing for my kid.
You're saying my parents did something that they could have wished
They
to
should
do?
not have done. Like,
I see. I think क्या करा था यार? ये तो complicated question हो गया. I think overcautiousness maybe because they had this thought of not exposing me much earlier to school is something that they must have done wrong. It's not wrong as such, but they thought I would not be able to cope up individually. I think मेरा mother का गोद में था मैंने. I think till I was 7. I think they should not shield that much. That overcautiousness or pyar, whatever you think of, I think that should be there, but at the same time, every parent should expose their kids to much younger age to schooling and preschooling. I think that is what allows us to do even much more than getting double promotions in the end and catching up with your age, which is what happened in my career. Not everybody's life mein wo ho sakta hai. Then by the time I become 10th, they become 19, 20. That is not that is what the parents of disabled kids always do. They are overcautious and they are terrified कि मेरा kid को क्या हो जाएगा, कुछ लग जाएगा कि ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा करके घर में ही रख लेते until the damage is done. So I suggest all the parents out there, if you have a kid who is challenged in some way or the other, accept it with pride and you leave him to live his life and give him education at a very young age, or therapy or intervention training or rehabilitation training. Don't wait too long till the damage is done. I think that is what is my message in this scenario.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Srikanth, this is the last question from my side. You are sitting right in front of about 130 odd people. Here we are gathering here for the first time. Because
you have a lucky management. They got you a Goa holiday. I never had anyone doing that. So I think good.
So, people are seeing each other for the first time. They come from different domains. Somebody comes from sales, marketing, finance, operations, training. Everybody is getting together here for the first time to meet each other, greet each other, and also see you here.
So I guess a lot of chemistry happened. Oh, that I think if social events like, yeah, go ahead.
My question here is, from your personal story, what advice would you want to give to the entire lot here? And what are the key takeaways which they should carry it from this particular conference when they go back to their homes?
I think events like this would always bring people closer, and this builds bonds, chemistry, physics, or whatever you can think of, and the love and respect for one another. Because after the invention of technologies like Zoom and Google Meet, we are losing that human touch. ठीक है, Zoom में दिखाई देता, but you don't feel the person's warmth. I think that is something you must have felt over these 2 days, over chit chat, over drinks, over events, sessions. So I think human touch is quite important, because I was in fact telling in the morning that after AI came in, if you want to write a letter, the student doesn't even think of what to write on left side and what to write on right side. They just go to Google and say, pull out a chat pad and punch it and say, letter to the teacher. And then AI will pull out a nice letter and give it to you. I think किसी को propose करने के लिए भी AI से message ले रहा है. I think what are we going? Where are we going? There is no reality there. I think to prove that reality, these kind of socializations and events would be definitely helpful, and I congratulate the entire team for achieving this holiday, because this must have come to you after a long period and achievements, and I hope you should meet more often. And when it comes to lessons, I think live your life the way you believe in, and please try and spread compassion and make people rich, and do something that doesn't make people lonely, and do something for others, and you will be the first one to be benefited. These 3 things actually helps me in my leadership journey and in my journey so far. And have bigger dreams. Don't compromise on anything. Believe in your spark and go and get the best you can, and aim for the best you can, and then you will definitely get it, as you see. Don't be in that 98% of the people who believe in Vastu and astrology. Be in that 1 or 2% of the people who writes your own astrology, who writes your own destiny, who writes your own planetary motions. So I think I am one among them, and I hope you too should be in that pool, and we all travel together and make our world a better place and sustainable place for all of us to live in. Thank you again for having me today. It has been a wonderful experience. But unlucky thing is I'm not getting time to chill in Goa. But in future, of course, we'll try. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, nothing. No. Well,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Pleasure is mine.